Okay, welcome back. How about a little mantle, a little Craftsman mantle? So what you'll want is your choice of wood. You can use basswood for part of this, like for the planks that are like the different layers, but I would suggest balsa wood for these little tiny detail bits that we're going to make. Another thing you could use for those bits would be maybe a square toothpick. It'll make sense when we go a little bit further here. Then this piece of wood is a little thicker. I have the link on this. In these strips, I got strips. They're like strips of basswood and balsa wood, and they're just kind of like a little miscellaneous bag that I bought on Amazon pretty reasonably. And I'm going to use one of those because it's thicker. You don't have to have one of these. You could maybe do 2 layers of the basswood or something like that. Your paint, I'm still doing burnt sienna, glue, cutting utensils, sanding utensils, painting, all of that kind of stuff. First, let's do some cutting. That's probably really what will take the longest on your project. So we have different layers to this. Our topmost layer is 7 centimeters wide by 0.9. Okay, so 7 by 0.9, that's your biggest. The next layer down is 6.5 centimeters wide by 0.9. So it'll go like this, those two. Then the next one is that piece from the bag that I was talking about. And so this one's a little bit thicker, but it's nevertheless, this is still 6 centimeters, you can tell, see, 6 centimeters by 0.4, okay, and that'll be our next one. And the bottom one is 6 centimeters by 0.7, okay? So when we sandwich this all together, just to give you an idea where we're going, it'll look sort of like that. We're going to make it look nicer than that. Then what you need are 5, I have 4 here, 5 little niblets here. These are little details that we're going to put in this area in here, 5 of them, okay? Now, what I did is I used the balsa wood, and I cut out a nice slice of balsa wood I went with the grain for my first cut so that I could get a nice long piece, okay? And that was 2 millimeters, 2 millimeter slice. And then I went and I started to make the little tiny cuts, I guess, 2 millimeters. And the way that I did this is I marked it, and then I just kind of made little cuts like that. You know, I don't know if you can tell, I'm not pushing very hard, and made little cuts to do this. Now, the reason I cut it that way is so that it didn't collapse on itself or start to just fragment, because the balsa wood is so delicate. So I did it that way. Now, you could also make 2 millimeter cuts out of, say, the square toothpick, or some other thing. I don't know that your Cricut is going to do it. If you've got a Cricut, I don't know that the Cricut will go that small, or a laser cutter. I'm not sure if that will go that small. It might though. And you can. The nice thing about the basswood though is that it's forgiving. So like, I didn't cut that super nice. Okay, well, that's not a big deal. I'm going to be able to just nip that off, and I'll be able to wiggle it into the spot if it's too big, or like slightly too big, you know, like if it's just a little bit too big, I can get this to go into that slot and it'll fit in there tightly. So anyway, however you wish to do these, they're approximately 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters, more or less, and you can do them out of whatever wood you want. You need 5 of them. Your next step is, of course, to sand, but I thought I'd tell you that something I chose to do for the second layer down. So this is the widest layer, that's your top. And the next layer down, what I decided to do is actually bevel the edges of these. So I just sanded at an angle like this. It looks like I have a couple little niblets there that I could fix. But at any rate, I sanded so that when I put this on, I thought that that kind of looked nice to have that little bit. Now, it's not Craftsman in the truest sense. I mean, truly, everything was very blocky with the Craftsman look. It was supposed to look handcrafted because it was a return to handcrafting furniture. It was in response to the Victorian era when a lot of things were manufactured, mass marketed. And so it was a simpler look. But I mean, you know, I'm only saying that for those of you who are going to be like, but that's not the way that the Craftsman is supposed to look. The next layer down is your the most narrow layer. And that is going to be glued back. Okay. So you see, it's in alignment with the back. It is supposed to be recessed. And then the last one caps it off at the bottom. And I don't know if I can hold these to show you, but it'll be like this on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to glue those together, and then I'll come right back. So these little niblets are actually what makes this distinguishable as a Craftsman piece. So since they're little accent pieces, you're, first of all, you know, you're just going to find the middle here. I don't have glue on this yet, but you're just going to drop these little guys down in here or kind of wedge them in there. When you do that, what is a nice touch is if you are able to get the grain going up and down, going vertical, you know, this way, for each of the little niblets. And it's just, when you go to paint it, it's just going to help them to kind of stand out a little bit more. So anyway, you have 5. So you're going to put one in the middle. You'll have one on each side, and then you'll have one in between each of those. So I don't have any glue on these yet, but to just kind of give you an idea, you're just going to go across, and there'll be one here. And then you do the same thing over here. I don't know. Looks like I lost one of my little niblets in the somewhere on here. I don't see it. But anyway, you're going to go ahead and do that, and you can glue those. And then, of course, your next step is just to paint it. So I have no tips or tricks for painting this piece. So if you turn off the video, please don't forget to subscribe first. And thank you so much for watching. Otherwise, I'll be right back here in a second, and I'll show you what it looks like in real life. And here's the little guy when he's finished. All done. We'll make a fireplace to put underneath this next.